Hey everybody, welcome to This Board Game Life, episode number 113, titled Media Influence. This is the show about gaming, board gaming, tabletop gaming, any kind of board game related topic that we feel like we want to talk about at that particular moment. I am one of your fine hosts for today. My name is Rob, and with me, somewhere on either side of me, I'm not sure which, is my good buddy Mark.
Hey everybody, how's it going? What's up, Rob?
Good to be here, my friend. We got another week of game or 2 weeks of gaming in, and it's only March or only not March. It's only January.
Yeah,
So we've got 11 and I was going to say about 11 and a half, but a little bit less than 11 and a
less
half
than that.
months
We're almost into
of gaming
February.
still. Yeah. So there's a lot of good gaming up ahead, and we got some good stuff to talk about on this show too.
Something like
So
that.
yeah.
I hope we got
So
good stuff to talk about.
always. We
Always.
always do, my friend. All right. So before we get on with some of the good stuff, a couple things to mention really fast is make sure to check out our YouTube channel. Make sure to like and subscribe. There's your cue to hit the button. There you go. Mark does it really well. And he just popped the like and subscribe for those of the folks that aren't on video right now. But we've got a lot of great content on our YouTube channel. Our podcast is out there in both video and audio form. You can find unboxings, playthroughs. Mark does mailbags. We've got some video reviews, and we'll probably be expanding that later on this year to some extent as well. So make sure to check that out. And again, like and subscribe. It's a great way to support us. It does not cost anything extra. It just takes a second to like a video and to subscribe to us. And then that way you'll get notified as soon as we put out new stuff.
It's
So,
free.
and it's free 99.
Yep.
That is correct. So let's talk about some of the stuff that we've been playing lately. How about I go first? I
What?
always let you go first.
What?
Yes,
You
I'm
played
gonna
something?
I'm gonna upstage you. I'm gonna upstage
Whoa.
you this show.
Awesome.
Like I'll pull the William Shatner on you. But I got two things to the table this past week. Actually, it was this past week. First up is Maquis. This is a really cool solo game that's been out for a couple of years. I believe it was a Kickstarter initially. Actually, it was a print and play way back when. Then it was a Kickstarter, and it's available at some stores now. And it is a really cool game. It's about running the resistance in World War II and going across a map. It's basically like a pick up and deliver style game where you are trying to pick up things at certain locations, for example, money or medical supplies or weapons, and then deliver them to other locations, which might give you other items. And more importantly, there's two missions that you have to accomplish. So your missions might be you have to deliver weapons to this location, or on this particular turn in the game, you have to deliver something at another location. While you're trying to do all of that, there's the militia that is basically trying to find you, or actually they're doing patrols. So you're trying to do this, you're trying to avoid them, you're trying to avoid being arrested. If you There's a way to take out the militia. So normally you start off with 3 militia on the board. Let's say you take out one of them, you drop it down to 2. They can be replaced by soldiers, which you can't take out. So you can temporarily reduce the militia, but you run the risk of making an enemy that you can't overcome. But overall, it is a really fun game. Does not take super long to play. And Mark, this is one of I haven't mentioned this on the show yet because this is fairly new news. I got a 3D printer not too long ago.
Woohoo!
And yeah, so I have joined the same ranks of Mark and a lot of our listeners out there that have 3D printers. So this is one of the games that I printed a 3D insert for. and it's pretty cool, and it makes the game set up so fast. And it's there's inserts like Mark and I were talking the other day about how some inserts are just rectangles in a box. So they're just squares, rectangles, whatever. You just have a whole bunch of them. Sure, there you go, like that. And yeah, Mark's holding up some rectangle containers. Well, that was a little. Oh,
That's a little
yeah,
bit better,
yeah,
but no.
yeah, yeah. But
But yeah, you're
some of them are really well done and creative, and I really appreciate those. So there's a really cool insert for this one. And then it's like when you print that insert, what are you gonna do but play the game, huh? It's like you've got to use it because it's
yeah.
so well done. And but I really love this game. It is a great solo game. If you have never heard of it, definitely check it out, and it might be worth picking up for you. Then also I got Potato Man, and I sort of feel like I should say Potato Man, and then have my hands or fist up high. Just it sounds like just that kind of name, Potato Man.
Yeah.
But this is a pretty cool trick-taking game by Gunther Burkhardt and somebody else. I forgot the
Wolfgang
second
Lehman.
designer's name. Yes, there you go. Thank you. And it is a cool little trick-taking game where you have 4 different suits in 4 different colors, sort of colorblind friendly-ish, maybe not really. The red and green are pretty tough to discern, at least for me, in poor lighting. If you have super bright lighting, it's not too bad. But challenges aside, that's a personal problem for me, I guess. Challenges aside, the game is pretty fun. It's got 4 suits of different characters. So the suits are different colors. There's red, green, blue, and yellow. And then there's various counts of cards on each one. They'll number anywhere from like 1, 2, or 3 through like 15, 16, 17, 18, something along those lines. And then Potato Man is the low end, the low 3 cards of the yellows, and then uh, like Professor Fry, I think is the bad guy. It was something Fry. So that's like the evil character, potato character. And so the reds are like the super highs, but if in a single trick, if you play a Potato Man, which is the low 1, 2, 3s, it always wins over that's like the trick in this one, or the gimmick, or whatever you want to call it. And then also the other thing is you can't play the same color twice. So for example, if I play yellow, the second person to play that round cannot play yellow. So they have to play red, green, or blue. And it's a fun little game. Entertaining. I like the artwork on it. And yeah, most importantly, it's fun. But
that is important.
Yes, exactly. It's definitely a fun game to start off the night or to end a night. Because sometimes after playing, Twilight Struggle for the last 6 hours, you need okay, I need something to decompress.
Need sleep.
Yeah, sleep.
The last thing I want to do is play another game.
Yeah. German Weissbier or something. Who knows what. A Rico Benny's sandwich.
Oh, that'll put you to sleep.
Portillo's, yeah. Anyway, so those are my 2. How about you, Mark? What did you play?
I got quite a few games in. I did attend a local con here out where I live. It's put on by another another gaming group, kind of like a local gaming group in the area, and this was their 6th year of putting this little convention on, and it has grown. It's getting bigger every year, and this was their by far largest turnout. And they raise money for charity, and it's been a great time. So I got to do some new things, but first I did play some Awkward Guests. Um, I picked this up after someone else introduced me to it on New Year's Eve. I think I talked about this in the last episode. A friend brought it and we played it. It was a great time, and I ended up finding a copy at a local store here, bought it, and got to play it with my family and had a really good time with it. So, Awkward Guests, if you're unfamiliar with it, the name is Awkward Guests, the Walton case. This is essentially Clue, but a more grown-up version of it. There's a lot more to it, and it's really a lot of fun. So, if you check that one out, if you get an opportunity. Also, I played Unfathomable. So, I've talked about Battlestar Galactica, the board game. That's what
Yep.
Unfathomable is. It's just in the Cthulhu universe. So, but it is essentially the same. It's the same game as Battlestar Galactica, which you can buy Unfathomable today. If you want Battlestar Galactica, you're going to spend many hundreds of dollars to find it in the aftermarket. If you want all the content for that game, you're looking at about $900 to $1,000 in the aftermarket, which is why I don't own it. A friend of mine has it, and we can play his copy. So, but Unfathomable is basically the same game. Some, I think, minor changes just because you're not flying around on ships, but you are on a big ocean passenger cruise liner, and these Cthulhu creatures are attacking from the deep. And it actually is a really good game. It was really a lot of fun. And if you like that type of hidden trader game, if you're familiar with Battlestar Galactica, the board game, then this is one that you can still get that same game type, but in a game that you can actually find today at a reasonable price. Also had some friends come over and we played some Marvel Dice Throne missions. Had a really good time with that. Got to also break out Sanctuary again. So the Sanctuary is an Arc Nova game. So it is the kind of streamlined, more medium weight game. It's still Arc Nova, but it's been changed to be a little bit more easier to approach. It is a good game. Now I do have a guy in my group who's very hardcore, very much likes Arc Nova, and I love Arc Nova. Another buddy of mine really loves it, and then this other guy does too. And he's like, I didn't like Sanctuary; it doesn't offer me enough. But my other friend and I are both like, we really liked Sanctuary a lot. I think it kind of stripped out some things that. I think this is a good entry for someone wanting to, hey, Arc Nova's the hotness. Maybe you're not a heavy gamer. You can play Sanctuary to get an idea of what it is about, and then later on, once you've got this game, now you can kind of move up and try an Arc Nova, and it won't be so much to figure out because you have kind of the basics down. They've taken some things out that I think aren't needed. I love the scoring in Sanctuary. It's more traditional. You can sit down and play a game of Sanctuary, and at the end of it, score points. Where you could sit there for 3 to 4 hours playing Arc Nova and score like 1 point, negative points, only a couple, because of the way they do their scoring. It's really weird. I don't like Arc Nova's scoring, but I really like Sanctuary. The tiles are bigger. It gets rid of all the cards. You're using tiles. You've got a much bigger zoom map board that you're putting tiles on, and they've done some different tweaking of the gameplay to kind of streamline it, and it works really well. I really like Sanctuary, and I'm really glad I ended up picking it up. The next game I played was Aquaria. This is one I've been from Tomasz Holek, from Tea Garden and SETI and Galileo Galilei. Had all 3 of those out last year. So Aquaria is his new one this year. It's like a medium weight game. You're basically managing an aquarium. You're putting fish in it. You got to feed your fish. There's all these different things going on that you're managing. it's a really fun game. There's a lot going on in this medium weight game, and it offers lots of opportunities. It's a action selection. So if you like go to an action like next to adjacent to the one that you originally were on when you started your turn, then you can take a bonus action at that spot. If you don't go and you select like somewhere else, it's not adjacent, you don't get to take the bonus action, but maybe it's going to help you out. So there's a lot of things going on in this medium weight game, and it's really fantastic. It's a really fun game. I also played Pawnscape, which again is another Tomasz Holek game. That one is a little. That one's actually sitting right here. It's a little card game about frogs, and it reminds me. It's not. I guess I can't say it reminds me of Force Shuffle because it doesn't. It's not Force Shuffle, but you're going to draw cards essentially from a marketplace, if you will. And you're not paying for the card, you're just taking a card. But depending on where you take the card, there's three out. There's this leaping frog or jumping frog that's going to move around above the market to these different food items. And that allows you to tuck cards under certain things that you have underneath your tableau to score points on later. But so you got to kind of pay attention to that. Also pay attention to the cards. So when you're drafting a frog or you're drafting a habitat, I think it's called. I think there's one other thing that that's in here. I'm trying to remember what they called it. But you got a tableau of 15 cards. It's a 3x5. You can put them anywhere you want. You don't have to put it next to a card you already played. You can put it anywhere in your tableau, but once you place the card, it's set. You can't move it. And then you just have to pay attention to what you're drafting, what the requirements are to score that card. There's one in there. There's like a frog that says, if you have more than 3 different types of frog species in your pond, then you can't score that frog. So now you're like, okay, now I've got to try to make sure I get like a bunch of those frogs, and I got to be careful what else I get because some other frogs might require you to have more than 3 species of frogs in your pond. So you don't want to draft those. And then there's all this placement rules to scoring your different cards. So it's a lightweight game, maybe like a 20-minute, about 30-minute game. Plays 1 to 4. And but there's a lot of depth to it for such a kind of a lightweight game. Next, I played Dead of Winter, a Crossroads game. Absolutely. Zombicide is one of my favorite games. And this is like Zombicide with a story twisted, in it as you're going and changing. And it's to me, it's kind of like the next step of like Zombicide. And I don't want to, again, it's a compliment. It's not a hit on Zombicide. But I do think Dead of Winter, the Crossroads game is, takes that idea and kind of steps it up in a little bit different. It's not all out battling, and so they are very different, but it still kind of has that same feels like a Zombicide would, where it's a lot of zombies out there. They're coming after where you're at, your locations, and you're basic battle for survival. But there's these interesting twists that happen in the game. So like you'll draw a card, and if like the person behind you will draw or in front of you one other way, they will draw a card and they read it, and it's like, okay, if I take this certain actions or things happen, then this card's going to play out and change things, or maybe, it could introduce an event that will, alter the game. And I think that's really kind of cool. And that comes up all the time on everybody's turn. There's that potential of that event card to be played. Next, I played Roth. So this is from Manny Tremblay and Chip Theory Games. It's a area control game. It's the one that looks like a unicorn vomited on the playmat because it's just these bright colors. This got to play this at. This was one of the games I played at the convention along with Aquaria. And this went over well. I had one guy in my group kept asking me, "What was that game? What was that game?" I think he's going to end up trying to hunt it down and buy it. Also got to play Shackleton Base for the first time. This game, I got stuck reading the rules. Like someone brought it, but nobody had played it. And for some reason, they handed me the rule book. So I'm like, okay, here's how to set up. And they were doing the setup. And then it was like, okay, here's how to play. So I was reading this, and like the other people that were listening were like, okay, they're looking at the board as I'm reading. Okay, this. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, we're doing this. So by the time I was done reading, I was like, okay, now teach me how to play, because I was just reading it. I wasn't like learning it. I'm reading it while they're learning it. I think the rule book kind of sucks on this one. There were several times the way things were worded, I would be reading it and I was like, wait a minute, what? And then I'm like, okay, I told the other people, I'm gonna read this word for word. And I'm reading every word and it doesn't make any sense. Like, it wasn't edited very well. And there was things that just didn't make sense. And we had to try to figure out, okay, what is it? We had to try to figure out what it was that the rule book was trying to tell us. But the game itself, I actually really enjoyed. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of different ways to score, which is something I do enjoy in games. One of those, you kind of can't do everything. So, which is also Aquaria kind of has that. You can't try to do everything. You got to try to, you're either going to get your aquarium filled and score points with this. You're going to focus on these things. You're going to go up the encyclopedia track, whatever. Shackleton Base was kind of the same way. There's all these different things you can, how you're going to score, how you're going to play, but you definitely have to think ahead. It was a tough game to learn. It's one that I want to play again. So that was the good thing, is after the first play, I'm like, I want to play it again, but I want to play it soon. It's one of those that if I goes too long, then it's going to be like, how do I play this again? And you're going to be learning it all over again. So, hoping that maybe my friend can bring it to the next game night and maybe we can play it again soon. So, but I did like it. Shackleton Base was a fun game. Got to play Magical Athlete. So this is, I think it's a reprint of an older game.
Yeah.
So this is the brand new version. It's just this race game, but it's crazy funny. It's very easy, and everyone's basically rolling a dice. You're moving your character that far, and every character has an ability that takes place. So, like, one of them was like, no one could be. I had the huge baby. And as the huge baby's moving down the board, no one else can be on the space with the huge baby. So if I land on where someone else is, they get moved back. If someone's moving and they're behind me and they're going to land on my space, they end up behind me because they can't be on my space. I also had, and you play around with that character, and then you're racing for first and second place, and you score points, and then you flip the board over to the other side, which is like a wacky race, but you use a different. Everyone has like 4 characters you get, and then you play the next race with a different one who plays completely different. And like one was like everybody I passed went back a space or 2 or something like that. My buddy Nick had a card where a character that was like, on his turn, he doesn't even need to roll the dice. He can just swap with the person in first place. So it was interesting because he was always in the lead. But there was times where it's like, well, maybe I'd rather roll because the first place person is 1 in front of me. I would rather roll the dice because I'm at least going to end up where they are, but I could potentially get further. So all kinds of weird, goofy little things. There's spaces on the board that will do things, give you points, send you backwards, send you forward, whatnot. And then there's this interaction when people are like, I think it was Nick had a card that every time someone else used their ability, he went forward. So every time any other player was doing their ability, he'd just move up. And I know there was one where like when someone did their ability, everybody else would go back. So he gets sent back, but because that person used their ability, he went back to where he was. So there's all these really kind of funny interactions on how these things play. So Magical Athlete was really fun. It's something that I would like to get a copy of it if I can find it. And it's just a cute little quick party game type of thing that has a really good fun for everybody. Even my diehard guy actually enjoyed it. So next we went over,
and it's got a weight of 1.18 out of 5. So super light. And then the original came out in '03, so like 22, 23 years ago.
Yeah, I'm
And
curious if it's just
yeah,
like I'll have to look it up. I don't know if it was an artwork change or was it um like what else was it? Like did they change the game or is
that's
this
that's a good question. They might have updated it because I saw that Richard Garfield was on the design team. So it was Takashi Ishida is the original designer of the game
and hit
back in
yeah.
'03. And then the reprint is Richard Garfield and Takashi Ishida as well. So I would imagine there was probably some changes if Richard Garfield got involved.
Oh yeah, I'm looking at like some of the characters and stuff. So those change. They're still like a little goofy characters and stuff, but um the new implementation looks quite a bit yeah, it looks a lot better. It's definitely been updated. So but yeah, it's a lot of fun. Really good game. Check it out if you get the opportunity. Next, I went and played Hot Streak. So this is another game that I guess is getting a lot of headlines. It's a basically mascot. Like, you know, you go to those like baseball, football games, they got the big mascots running around, right? Well, that's kind of what this is everyone around the table is betting on these four mascots to race down this football field to the end. And there's what cards are going to be in the game. You get to see some of the cards in the game. Everyone gets dealt cards, and then you are placing bets on which like whether you see certain things. So if you're familiar with Ready Set Bet, it's like I feel like it's Ready Set Bet but with mascots and in a really goofy kind of Ready Set Bet. So you're gonna bet on I think this person's gonna win or maybe they're going to um or when someone crosses the finish line there's going to be like nobody is in like close to second place. There's like these grids on the field and like no one will be in a certain couple spaces after that or maybe they will and then you can win or lose points. You can bet big or if not bet big but you can take like a risky bet and then if it doesn't pay off you lose money and it'll do things like this mascot will trip or if you run into the mascot it could send them off of it moves them forward or to the side so you could knock them off the field let's take them out they could trip and then even if they get a card that says moves forward 3 they're only going to move forward 1 as long as they're laying on the ground so it's like they're still rolling on the ground but their ability to move is limited until they get like a reset card. So there's this kind of goofy action going back and forth, and it's just a quick little funny racing game. So that was a lot of fun to watch. Then also again, these are all still at the con. I played Blood on the Clock Tower, or I guess I don't know if you say you played it or did you participate. It's more of a part because you don't really I feel like you don't really play Blood on the Clock Tower. It's like you participate in this weird event. Have you ever played this, Rob?
No.
So it's very popular. I guess it's a social deduction game. I think is really what it is. Everyone gets like uh, a secret identity, and there's like townsfolks, and then there's like which are good, and then there's the bad. They're trying to find who the demon is and who the minions are who are trying to kill the townsfolk and stuff like that. Some people will get information, some won't. Some people will think there's something when they're not that because they're drunk, like they're really the drunk. But the game master will tell them like, "Oh, you are the Undertaker or something." So they think that's what they are, and they're starting to play the game like that's what they are. But that's not them. That's not what they are. They're just the town drunk, so they don't know anything and we had like 11 people and they're just sitting in a circle and there's a day night stage and basically during the day so at night it starts and I was the poisoner first time I've ever played it. I was a minion and I was a poisoner and so I had to pick someone to poison, and then everyone else. So like the first night took a while because the game master's tapping people to open their eyes, and he's doing hand signals, and they're pointing at stuff and doing different things, and and then it's daytime, so we all open our eyes, and then we're just free to basically start talking, sharing information. So like during the nighttime, some people would get information, and whether it was real or not, who knows, right? But you got to start to figure it out. But nobody knows who anybody is to start the game, and it was just interesting. We going through a couple different cycles of people trying to figure out who's who and what's what, and ultimately the townsfolk in this game did figure out who the demon was and who the minions were, and we got killed off. So it was interesting. I do see the draw of the game. It's rated an 8.4 on BGG. It's weighted at a 304. I guess just because it's a social deduction, but yeah, it was interesting. So I'm glad I got to actually play this and be introduced to it. A couple more things I'll make quick. I did play Zombicide again. I got to play it last night. I'm so happy to play it. I love this game. And I'm actually printing. I realized, boy, I need to look for a 3D insert for Zombicide because I just got everything thrown in the box. And I found a really cool one that I'm working on printing now. So I'll have everything in actual containers instead of just thrown in the box. But yeah, I got to play Zombicide. I also played Food Chain Magnate for the first time this past week. Not for me. I did not care for the game. I know it's a beloved game. I know people really like it. It just didn't work for me. And at the end of it, I was just like, I have no desire to play it again. Just wasn't for me. So, and then the last game, this is one I'm absolutely going to try to find. It's a Stefan Feld game, The Druids of Idora, which I guess is brand new. Should be hitting shelves soon. A friend of mine who backed it or pre-ordered it. I think she pre-ordered it. Brought that over the other day and we played that, and man, it's a good game. It's really a good game. At first I was like, what? I look at the box, I'm looking at the name, I'm like, what is this? I was like, well, it's a Stefan Feld. I'll play it. I love Castles of Burgundy, right? So I'm like, yeah, I'll try it. And yeah, it's good. It's a really good game. And you've got to really think. You got to plan what you're doing. You plan your route, but then you're limited to what you can do at each little place that you go, and you have to basically pay for your movements and pay to do your abilities. And it's. But at one point, I ended up like by the end of the game, I kind of stuck to one corner, and like my final move was like, well, I can't get anywhere new. I think I did, but it took like just about all the money I had left, and it really limited to me what I could do. But you are fighting for, it's like area control and all these other things you're trying to match. It's again like a point salad type of thing. There's a lot of ways to score, kind of like Castle Burgundy. There's a lot of different things you can do to score. Same with Druids of Adora. There's a lot of different ways to score and get things, and it was really, really a fun game. So can't wait to get my hands on that one.
Thankfully, it's not like a $150 Queen game.
Yeah.
Like from the City Collection or something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, but that's it. I'm finally done.
All right. So definitely a lot of good gaming in the last 2 weeks. All right. If you're wondering how you can contact us, we've got the answer for you. We've got the answer for you. You can reach out to us at contact@thisboardgamelife.com. And always, please leave a comment on any of our videos. We do monitor that. We do respond, and we love seeing the videos or the responses there, or the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe.
Oh, sorry.
You got to do it. You got to do it. Yeah,
I did it.
Mark was a little slow on that one.
I missed that one.
I caught you off guard. With that. But anyway, let's get on to the news real quick before we get on to the main part of the show. You want to take this first one?
Sure, why not? So the very first one is the Root and Arcs designer Cole Worley, I think it's Worley, um, and style-defining artist Kyle Farron are leading a staff exodus from Leader Games to form a new board game studio. So they are. I read the headline and probably shouldn't have done that. Leader Games. Let's see. Oh yeah, there it is. So they Cole Worley, who designed hits including Arcs and Oath, while at Leader, and the lead artist Kyle Farron, who is most famous for his art on Root, they have left Leader Games to launch Buried Giant Studios with Worley's brother Drew and former Leader director of operations Ted Kaya. Leader Games has agreed to sell Arcs and Oath to Buried Giant as part of the shakeup, while keeping hold of its huge selling title Root, a game which, despite its complexity, has broken out of the hobby game bubble and onto the shelves of major retailers such as Walmart and Target, which is pretty crazy to think, because, man, Root is, whew, I'm surprised that is at Walmart and Target, but that's how popular the game is.
Yeah.
So the Exodus will leave Leader with a design and development team comprising company founder Patrick Leader, the co-creator of its debut release Vast, The Crystal Caverns, and co-designer of multiple Root expansions Nick Brockman, who has worked on expansions for Root, Ahoy, and Fort, and solo game designer specialist Liz Davidson. That said, Root's huge success following its 2018 release allowed Leader Games to triple its staff, as well as provide a design team the breathing space to explore new creations without the heavy pressures of churning out new money-making releases. So, it's not really gonna do anything. Just that a couple of games are now going to be from Buried Giant, so they're gonna. I would imagine. I don't know how that happens. Like when something like this happens, so who has all the copies? I'd assume the developer doesn't have them. Probably, if they haven't done a print run in a bit, they would be sitting out there. But anything new coming out will probably be printed with the new company name and logo on it. But they're going to own those couple of games, and I guess we'll look to see. Buried Giant has revealed that they plan to launch a crowdfunding campaign for Arc's expansions Beyond the Reach later in the spring. And it's going to be a part of a series of planned extensions to the game. So a lot of people like Arc. Not me. I just don't care for it. But I know a lot of people really love that game, and there's going to be some more expansions. So look for that crowdfunding campaign to launch this spring. So
okay. Next up is this publisher called Office Dog Games that has put out a couple of titles recently. Like at Gen Con, they were showing their Lord of the Rings game called The Hobbit: There and Back Again, which is somewhere around here. I think it's buried behind the big stuff. But that was one that I was really looking forward to back at Gen Con last summer. And they have recently released 2 more Lord of the Rings games. They're the Lord of the Rings trick-taking games. There's 2 versions of it. One of them, actually, I just picked up the other day. It's, I can get it here. It's the Lord of the Rings, the Two Towers trick-taking game, and then there's the Fellowship version. So they're cool little card games. And so you can see lately there's been that shift. They got that IP going or flowing, Lord of the Rings stuff. And to continue with that, they're having a bit of an expansion in 2026. They're going to be announcing and releasing 4 new games, including 2 licensed games. I'm not sure what that is. Maybe we can assume that they're Lord of the Rings. And a reimagined edition of a popular card game classic. Who knows what that is? And a new Legends of the Five Rings project. So they're going to be announcing what all of those are. So this is kind of a little teaser that they put out, that they're coming out with a bunch of stuff later this year. And they say that so this spring during the Gamma Expo, we will find out what the big reveal or what's going to be coming, plus bigger reveals planned for Gen Con in August of this year. And so exciting times for those guys. So it's cool to see a small company doing big stuff. And then DeVere revealed that Cities USA is coming out in retail Q1 2026. So that is right now. So sometime probably before March or through the end of March, we'll see this. Cities USA was designed by Steve Finn and Phil Walker Harding. Those are both very respected designers. Love their games, both of theirs. And it's a standalone game as opposed to Cities, which came out, I don't know, about a year or two ago. And this one is a standalone urban planning game that focuses on skyscrapers, bridges, and waterfronts found in U.S. cities. So plays up to 4 players, 10 and up, 40 to 60 minutes. And also Cities City Achievements expansion, or I'm sorry, Cities City Achievements and Theaters expansion is going to be coming out soon. That's going to add 11 new achievement tiles to the game, as well as a mini expansion revolving around theater tokens. So that will be coming out soon. And then lastly here, we've got so there's a card game that came out a bajillion years ago called Nuclear War. Maybe you've heard of it. Actually, now that I'm talking about it,
Want to play a game?
yeah,
Not
Nuclear
that one.
War came out in 1965.
Oh, wow.
So that is an old game, and a weight of 1.45. So not very heavy, but this game has been around. Wow, is that 60 years? Yeah,
When did it come out?
65.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah.
Yeah. And anyway, so this was a very beloved game by a lot of the folks that have been into the hobby for years. A lot of them played Nuclear War when they were kids, and they're coming out with an expansion for it. 60 years later is,
Well, it's
I don't
a
know,
standalone.
a
It's a
standalone
standalone.
expansion.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's going to be coming out to retail. So Mr. B Games is coming out with nuclear destruction. So it's a standalone expansion for Nuclear War, and it's in pre-order right now, and it's expected to hit again in Q1 of 2026. It was originally on Kickstarter in 2024, so about 18 months ago. In this game, players lob nukes at different populations in an attempt to be the last nation standing. And then it uses the mechanics of the Weapons of Mass Destruction game from Flying Buffalo, but it also contains enough cards to play a 6-player game. So 2 to 6 players, 14 and up, plays in 30, 60 minutes, and it's going to retail for $49.99. Somehow, I don't think the game in 1965 was $49.99, but that's 60 years later. Inflation, all that
Yeah.
other stuff.
Big time.
And I'm sure the quality of the game is going to be, of the materials is going to be a lot better than.
And it's a board game, not a card game, too. So
Yeah.
So that'll be a big difference.
Yep. And then I wasn't going to talk about this, but I'll mention it real quick. So Flamecraft Duels is a game that you've already got, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, I think you mentioned it last show or the show before, and it's going to be hitting U.S. retail on January 28th. So coming up in about a week or so, as of this recording, it'll be available, and it's going to hit retail at $30. It's set in the Flamecraft universe, and it's a match 3
Yeah.
style game, and it's got a really cool utilization of the game box,
Yeah.
which is always neat. But that's it for the news. So let's get on with the main topic, which is media influence. Gotta watch out for those influencers.
Oh, I know. They
Do we
suck.
fall into that? I don't know.
I,
I don't think
I don't
so.
classify us as influencers.
Yeah.
I think once you get, more than 1 million followers, then maybe you're an influencer, but we just a little
Or
show.
I like to think of it as I'm just a guy that likes to play games and I like to talk about them.
Exactly.
That's it. No expectations. Actually, I think for both Mark and I, the gaming is a hobby, and then doing this is a hobby as well. So it's
Exactly.
two hobbies, both big time sinks. I don't. Once you get set up with all the videos and stuff, or with the video equipment and audio equipment, it's not much of a money sink. I think the board gaming definitely wins out on that
Yeah.
as to what's more expensive. But there's something that doesn't really get talked about a whole lot, and that's that how does gaming media affect us and the hobby? And there's so many different ways that I think it actually does affect us. Um, and when I say media, I mean podcasters, YouTubers. There's folks that are out there doing like the whole Instagram, TikTok type of thing. There's folks that are out there on, Twitter and, you know, all the online platforms. And they do influence us, sometimes good and sometimes bad. And I thought it would be pretty cool to talk about some of this stuff and, talk about stuff that we think is okay, some stuff that we don't necessarily like, some stuff that, just might be middle ground, generic. Who cares? But here, I'll pick one of the things to talk about first, and that's that I don't know if I appreciate paid hyping of games. And what I mean by that is you get paid previews of games. Now, some folks do make a distinction. This is a paid effort. This video, whatever it is, review on a podcast, whatever. It's a paid effort, and they will just tell you about it. They will
Right.
not offer opinion. They will not give you any kind of push in any direction. That I can appreciate. But I know it's very common when you get something for free or you are paid to talk about something, you will usually give it a glowing review.
Yeah.
That's just how it goes, because you tend to feel obligated.
Well,
Like they gave me something and I need to return the favor in some ways. I know not always done on purpose, but I think that's the push that we get. What were we going to say?
Also, there's that, and then also the fact of if a company sends someone a game, they get the game for free. If they review it poorly, they're probably not going to get any more content from them. So in the idea of a content creator, you're going to say good things because then that company's probably going to send you future releases for you. So that's again, I think, a problem with that potential influencers, or depending on the media source you're getting your information from, there is that kind of bias in there.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I'm like, we haven't had any company send us anything. So, but even if we did, I would be like, I want to be honest about it. And that's like, even like games I don't like, I'm not going to do a review because I don't want to do a bad review. Unless but if I pay for it myself, which all the stuff that we've done on our channel, um, at least lately in the last year or two, it's all what we buy, what we pay for. I know Rob had some stuff way back in the day that he got when he did his reviews. But like with what I do, I haven't gotten anything from a company, and I feel I have, like you said, you kind of feel obligated if you get it from them. When you're not getting it from them and you're paying your own money, it's like, it's my honest opinion. I put my money into this, and here's how I feel about it. And I feel like that relates to people better because, not everyone has this so much disposable income. And this is where I put my money. This is what I do. So I enjoy the hobby, but when I put money into it and I don't like the experience, then I feel more apt to share that. And like, everyone knows I did not like challengers. um,
Yep.
you know, but I also, I don't mind saying some things, but I'm not going to probably put a review up for it and just rip it, because I don't think that's necessarily the best thing either. I like to tell people when I do a review, here's what I liked about it and here's what I didn't like about it. I don't tell people whether to buy it. I don't give it a rating. You know, I might say, hey, I love this game, but I'm not going to give it a rating of 5 stars or 10 stars or 100 out of no number out of a, whatever, a 10-point scale, 100-point scale, because I think that's all. And I guess I'm rambling. I think I'm getting off board, but I always feel like, even with like Dice Tower, when they give it like their seal of approval, or they hit it a 7, and someone's like, well, why didn't it get an 8? I'm like, well, that's all personal. Everybody's different. Everyone's going to look at a game differently. I did not like Challengers. I did not like Food Chain Magnet. Those Challengers won a freaking Spiel award. Food Chain Magnet's like a huge, very popular, was a great game. It's just not for me. So for me to put a score on that and then tell the world, here's my score, is I think irrelevant. Everyone's going to look at something different. So I appreciate the reviewers that are just kind of honest, and that's why I try to do that with mine. Here's what I like, here's what I don't like. Not like feeding into it to get it all hyped up.
And another thing, which is kind of like part of like the whole struggle, is that when we're deciding about games to talk about, especially when we're doing reviews, if there's a game that I don't like, I'm less apt to talk about it because I'm excited to talk about the games that I do like. But if you're actually providing an informational service, per se, for your listener base, you should also give them the good and the bad. At least that's what
Right.
I would sort of expect.
Yeah.
But it's a difficult thing, especially like when we let's say, like, if you do a YouTube review, that's a lot of time. That's a lot of time, a lot of hours. And it's the struggle is, if I'm going to take 3 hours to do a 15-minute video, 3 hours out of my day, out of my life to record and edit and stage and everything. I want it to be something that I'm excited about, not like, hey, Mark, now that you didn't like Food Chain Magnate, can you do a review, please? Come on, you
Yeah.
can do it.
Do a review and do a playthrough and
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, no thanks. No one's gonna want to watch
But
me play that. Or
yeah, but the thing is, if you're that's part of the struggle, I guess, because you should give a balance and not just talk about
and that,
like the stuff that you're excited and love.
and that's one thing I do really like about Dice Tower is that I don't think they need to give it a score. I understand why they do, and it does. Publishers like having that like seal of approval, or especially if the whole group loves the game, it gets that special sticker that goes on the game boxes and stuff. And it does. Some people look for those. But what I love about what Dice Tower does is you will get like several people giving their thoughts and opinions on one game. Some will be like, I loved it. Someone else will be like, 5, I didn't really care for it,
Sure.
And I love that. And I think they're kind of so big in the media side that they're going to keep getting the stuff no matter what.
Yeah.
And they can be honest, but a lot of like, I like I say, like YouTubers, which is what we are, right? I tend to kind of, what's your real opinion? Because if you're getting paid for it, you're going to give it a glowing review. You're going to talk, even if you don't give it a glowing review, they're going to talk positive about it because they want, okay, this is open. I got my first game from this publisher. If they see that I gave it a glowing review, they're going to send me more, And so that's not, and I don't think that should be part of a review process. That shouldn't be part, because now you're biased and now you're just giving it good praise for
And
yourself
it might not
and
even be
not
an
for the
intentional
audience.
bias,
True. So hopefully
But
influencers are paying attention, but in today's day and age, I really don't.
yeah,
I don't think that's happening.
yeah.
But I'm
But
I'm I'm a negative Nancy.
you're negative Mark, not
Negative
Nancy.
Mark.
So another thing that is, let's say, pushed out by the gaming media, maybe even us included, we might fall into this, is whatever is the new hotness is the stuff that you wind up having to play. So it's always new, 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 new. And this is a tough one
Yeah.
because when you listen to podcasts, when you watch videos, it's very infrequent that you see something older. But
Yeah.
I do get it. Like people do get excited about the next Stefan Feld game or the Tomasz
Pollock.
Holic games, and they want to play it. But the thing is, it's okay to play the older stuff because there's so many great old games, like right here on my shelf. Alberto Corral has Castaways. It's a game that came out a bajillion years ago, like at least 10 years ago. Fantastic game. It's okay to play the old stuff and not be always incentivized or always pushed to play the latest and greatest. Oh, nice. You got airlines.
Airlines Europe.
Yeah,
I picked this up at the con. Someone sold it. Also,
that's a good game. I have it up here
Flash
somewhere.
Flashpoint Fire Rescue as well.
Oh, yeah,
Um,
that's okay. Yeah.
so yeah, I picked up some older games, but like I did them in my mailbag. I was just like, hey, look what I got. But I'm not doing like unboxings or anything, but because I'm like, yeah, they're older games. No one's probably going to care. But,
Mhm.
you know, I, when I play them, if it turns out like this, I just fell in love with the game, I will absolutely probably do a review on it, even though it's old, because I don't think we should skip out on things like that. Because there are always new people coming into the hobby, and it was tough for me because it was like, oh, what's hot, what's new? You're being inundated with all this new stuff, so you ignore all the old stuff. And if you're not in a gaming group with people that have a lot of older games in their library, you miss out. Like, you have introduced me some amazing games, and my game group has introduced me to some amazing games that are much older, that are fantastic. But because of the hotness and where the media is always, the influencers are always focused on what's new and hot, a lot of that's missed.
Yeah. Oh, heck
So
yeah. And another byproduct is that you have to have a lot of unnecessary things. And what I mean by that is, well, I don't know if we fall into this, but we're just excited about certain things, and we do like to talk about it. But you don't necessarily need to have a gaming table. It is nice if you have one. I mean, definitely.
yeah, I don't have one.
Yeah. And yeah, neither do I. And I've actually thought about, like, if I were to get a gaming table, how feasible would it be? And I basically said, unless I had a dedicated gaming room somewhere, I don't know. I don't think I would get a gaming table. At least not like to replace a dining room table. But
I do see the advantages of them. Like, you could get one for your dining room that has the top on it that you can cover your game. So
sure,
if you're playing something that is a long game, then you can keep it set up, put the cover on it, and then eat your dinner on top of it.
sure,
I see that, but those are.
I appreciate that. Yeah,
But if you don't play games all the time, then it's a huge investment for something that you really aren't going to make use of. And like, even if you have a gaming room, so like when I set this room up, my original intent, we weren't doing this channel. My intent was, I wanted a gamer. I was going to buy a game table, and I was like, I'm going to put it in this room. But I'm like, man, that's so expensive. How often am I really going to make use of it? So I ended up buying just a kitchen table that seats 6 people, and that's what I use. I'm like, it's fine. It doesn't have, and I bought this cover, this play mat that I have on it, so it covers it. You still get the same concept. I could always, I don't have drink holders hanging off of it and all the fancy things, but it fits my need. Well, then it ended up turning it into, this is my table for doing game reviews and videos, and I don't even play games here. When people come over, I play up on my kitchen table. I got a big play mat for that too, and it's fine. You play on it, and I don't play every day in my house, so again, I don't need it. But following some of the media influencers, or we go to Gen Con and we see those tables,
they're nice.
oh, they
Don't get
are
me wrong.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. But again, do we need it? No. We
Yeah,
might want it.
because I was thinking, like, even if I had the space for a dedicated gaming room, or actually I would need like a gaming wing, technically.
Yes.
But
Yes.
yeah, if I had a dedicated gaming room, even then, like, is a table really necessary? You could just get like a really nice dining table and just leave it on there. Just leave
Yeah.
everything on that surface. It doesn't need to be recessed with lighting and a Bluetooth speaker and all these drink holders, and
So
it's
that's the other thing. Drink holders, I normally don't want people drinking at my when I got a game on the table. You got to be careful. It's very easy to spill a drink, and that can be devastating to cardboard.
yeah, and a lot of the
Yeah.
tables they'll hang the drink off the side, which is
Yeah.
nice. So at
Yeah.
least it's not on the table surface itself. Or one thing that I've done in the past is I'll take TV trays and I'll put them at the corners, like the
Yeah.
folding TV dinner tray table or whatever.
The
Just
very
put
stable TV tray.
Yeah, then again, I think they're more stable than some people I know. But hey, that's a whole different story.
What are you
So
saying?
I'm not talking about you, but you put them off on the side, and then that's where all the snacks and drinks and other stuff can go. But
Yeah.
that's a whole different story. But yeah, it's a lot of the influencers will have that, especially if they're doing videos. Absolutely not necessary. And if
Right.
you don't have it, you're really not missing out. If you got the disposable income and the space for it, by all means, get it. Um, a lot of folks also talk about all of the upgrades that they get, and we fall into this with our favorite games, but it's perfectly fine to play a game in its retail version because in the end, the game itself is the main selling point.
Yeah.
And, while the tactile feel of metal coins is nice, while the feel of having, instead of a standee, you now have a miniature. The miniature looks cooler, it feels cooler in the hand, but it's just as functional. Although I do have to say, standees are really annoying because one little jostle of the table and they all fall over. Whole different story.
Yeah.
But it is perfectly fine to have a normal version of the game, and you'll have just as good a time.
Yes. I
Did,
agree.
did you have anything that you wanted to mention, or you want me to keep going?
No, I think I would just mention things you already have on your list. I wasn't able to. You can just keep going. I'm
Okay, yeah, no problem. So another thing, and this we
but
kind of touched on this with,
let me actually
yeah,
touch base on one thing
yeah,
on the unnecessary things. Is that because you're going on to D, right?
yeah,
So I think the biggest thing is probably the biggest unnecessary thing, in my opinion, is expansions. And I think I have bought so many expansions, and my experience is if you play a lot of games, the chances of playing those expansions are extremely thin. And most of the time, unless you're playing with the same group all the time, and maybe you have fewer games, then expansions can make the game you buy last longer. That's great. If you are kind of in the hobby like Rob and I, and we're just constantly getting new stuff, expansions really is a big waste of money and space for your shelf. Because I find a lot of times that if I'm because I'm always teaching someone new at game night, there's always someone who's not played this game. So even if I've got half the people or majority of the people have played the game and I got the new expansion, I'm usually not putting it in to make the game easier to learn for the new people. And it seems like so many times, and even some expansions just don't necessarily add a lot. Like Ark Nova, I love it, but the Marine expansion, there's so many cards in the game, and this basically adds more cards. And if you're going to go down that Marine route, there's a huge stack of cards, and you got to find just a couple. It's kind of pointless. After I bought it and I was putting it together, I was like, oh my gosh, this was
hmm
kind of a waste. I mean, it's cool what it may add, but is that going to come up very often? So um, I think you got to be careful with your expansions on what they offer and does it really provide value.
right.
So that's, I think, a big thing. Now, something like the SETI space agencies that just came out, I like that because it gave more alien races that you can put in your game. So it's you have more that will come up in your base game. It doesn't change the game. You already have 5 and you're picking 2 every game. I'm sorry. Yeah, 2 to potentially find and play against. Why am I thinking it's 3? I feel like I'm drawing a blank. I swear only 2 sat out there, but there's 3. You're looking for 3 different alien life form. Anyways, I'm having a dumb moment. But there's a total of 5. You don't use them all in the game. This gives you like 3 more to put in there to mix in. So it's not an expansion. It's just more content to play in your base game. Then there's also like asymmetrical abilities, so everybody gets a special power or something in the game. And then there's of course some additional cards that go in that will offset some of those new aliens or different things. So that's an expansion that you can very easily just put in, and it doesn't really alter the rules so much. Or it also has like a skip the first round because you kind of get a jump start into the game. They have that as well. So there's things like that that can make it easier for people to get into the game. But I think the majority of expansions are just like, let's recomplicate the thing, or they're adding so many new levels of stuff that you probably won't get to play them, or especially if you've got new people you're teaching. So I think those can often, majority of expansions can be unnecessary, and that the ones that I think are really worth it are few and far between.
Yep. So to kind of recap, like the stuff that we've gone through so far, like with media influencers and so forth, they could potentially be shilling games just because of money, right? You give glowing reviews. They're always going to be playing the hottest games. So I think this would fall into, like, the expansions would fall into the hotness, right? Because
Yeah.
the expansions is the latest version of the game. And we don't need to necessarily play the newest games. We don't need to play with the latest expansion, because,
Right.
to be honest, I'm almost turned off of getting expansions, because for the games that I do have expansions, I rarely ever play them, because most
Yep.
of the time I'm playing with new people and I'm teaching them the OG game.
Yep.
I don't want to overcomplicate it. And then sometimes the game is just so good by itself.
Yes.
So we don't necessarily need those expansions. And just because you see the influencers playing with them, or talking about them and excited about them, you're not necessarily missing out. You're not missing out because you don't have a table or a fancy game room. I mean, most of us don't have the space, because any
Yeah.
spare rooms are filled with shelves. But hey, that's all the story.
And
And
another.
yeah,
Oh, sorry.
go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, you go.
Well, just I had a thought too of something like when they have multiple editions. You got the retail edition, you got the deluxe edition, and sometimes you have a super duper ultimate collection edition or something that's been blinged out to the extreme. When you've kind of gone down the path that I have, that I keep getting like these fancy editions, when I end up with the retail edition, that can actually, I've noticed it actually kind of can diminish my enjoyment of a game, simply because I have to play with cardboard and not fancy acrylic or poker chips or something. And it's like, that's not what this hobby is about.
Right.
If it's a good game, it's a good game. It doesn't matter if it's, cardboard or acrylic, wood pieces versus plastic pieces or something. It doesn't, that shouldn't matter. So again, those things really are, the deluxe editions really usually are very unnecessary. Well, they are unnecessary. It doesn't, and Rob and I've talked about this. I think we had a whole show dedicated to it, I believe, about how we love acrylic tiles, the tactile feel, the sound of, like, when you put, like when I'm playing Quacks of
clinkiness,
Quedlinburg,
yeah.
you dig into your bag and it's all these acrylic tiles, and it's like there's something so satisfying about the noise that it makes, as opposed to just little cardboard chips.
Or when you got everything in a bag and you're like shuffling them with your fingers.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's not needed. It is unnecessary, but it can be, I think it's a good thing on a game that you absolutely love to maybe then go and get some things to enhance that experience. But the problem, again, like with me, is I've done that on some things, and the next thing I know, I'm wanting the best edition of everything. I want everything blinged out, and it's not necessary. I bought Luthier a couple weeks ago, and I was like, it's the retail copy. It was the only one left. Like, it's like I haven't seen it anywhere. I ended up buying it because I'm like, I haven't seen it anywhere. But it's like, the whole time I'm unboxing it, I'm just thinking, I know there's a deluxe edition out there, and it's like I'm not even thinking about the game. I'm like, okay, how much is it going to cost me? What do I need to upgrade on this? And that's not what
Right.
it should be. That's not what this hobby should be about. So I hate that I've kind of gotten into that mindset because of unnecessary things.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, because talking about the experiences, like if we translate that to food, it's like we don't necessarily need to eat at the Fleming's Steakhouse 3 times a day. We could go to McDonald's or Taco Bell once in a while. It's perfectly fine.
You got to slum it every once in a while.
You
Yeah.
can get your BK or your Ivors. Ivars? No,
Ivors. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's perfectly fine for that particular time.
Yeah.
And I do have to say, like Castles Burgundy, I love that game so much. It's been my favorite game for years. And I've got the special edition. And even with that, it's all blinged out. And I'll admit I went too far with that game because like I got the terrain pieces and I really don't like the terrain pieces.
Yeah.
I'd rather play with the regular ones just because it's just a pain to find it and it like screws up the flow. It
blocks the board.
Screws up the flow of the game.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
But it's you don't need that stuff for every single game. If it's a game that you really treasure, you really love to play it over and over, why not?
Yeah.
But another thing is needing to play everything. Because when you listen to the shows, the podcasts, like This Board Game Life, I don't know, or you're watching the YouTube channels, they're always like playing so many games.
Yeah.
Right? It just today I played these 5 games. Yesterday I played these 8 games. If you're in a position where you're able to do this hobby as a full-time thing, which some of those people are doing full-time, you can afford that. But there's a lot of us that we have real life stuff. We have families, we have work, we have family members that we're taking care of, and you're trying to do stuff with the
we
kids.
Have a budget.
Yeah, you have budgets, whatever it might be. A budget of time, not just money.
Yeah.
And it's okay to play once or a couple of times a week, or heck, even a couple times a month. It's not, you can still be in the hobby and have a great time and not be gaming multiple games every single day.
Yeah. And the people that are doing that's because this is their job. And I feel like I think about that with like the Dice Tower people, because they're reviewing new stuff every week. And it's like, I think about the amount of time that they have to put into that. They've got to learn the game. They've got to do a dry run a couple of times to, reading the rule books and playing it and trying it out before they actually, review it or actually do a live play and stuff like that. There's a tremendous amount of time put into that. Yep. And it's like, when you watch a 20-minute video, you don't, oh, wow, 20-minute video. Oh, that's it. It's not that easy. There's so much more hours and hours, like you said earlier, Rob, that go into making that small little video. And if you're going to get a real review, like someone that's just like if it was us just getting stuff all the time from companies, we wouldn't be able to keep up. We wouldn't be able to put the proper amount of attention and time into it, because we can't play everything. We can't play every day. It's just not possible unless this was our sole job. And even if it was our sole job, I don't want to play everything. And I don't necessarily want to play a board game every single day, because then the hobby becomes a job. and then you're doing it for completely different reasons. And that's where I think now we get back to kind of that first thing with the paid hype. Well, I've got to hype it up because I got to keep the content coming in so I can create more content to get more viewers, to get more money. That's that kind of vicious circle. But
Sure.
yeah, we don't have to play every day, and we don't have to play everything. Play what you love.
Yeah.
You know?
What you love, what seems interesting. And then another thing is, it is when you're watching these videos, as an example, like YouTube videos where they're going through and they're doing a playthrough or rules teach or whatever, they're usually so well done. And, well, not all of them, but a good portion of them are really well done, really well explained. They're showing you the pieces. And you know what? If you pick up a rule book for Tea Garden, or heck, even this card game that I just picked up, the Two Towers trick taking game, the rule book in here is actually sizable. It's well, it's not huge
Well, it can't be too big
physically,
because got to
but
fit in the box.
it's 32 pages.
Oh, wow.
So, maybe maybe three-quarters of it is, and it's a lot of freaking text.
Wow.
And you know what? It's perfectly fine and normal to struggle learning to play a game.
Yeah.
It's perfectly normal to go through a rule book and go, I don't even know what I just read. I need to read this paragraph 10 times to understand it. That's
Yeah.
perfectly fine. You don't have to be sort of like how the influencers show it as being like, oh, you want to know how to play this game? Here's the 45 steps on how to do this one turn. And it's perfectly fine to refer to the rule book for every single thing that you do. It might be annoying for everybody else that's involved, but basically what I'm saying is influencers tend to make it look too easy, and it's not. We all learn differently. Some rule books are not written well. Some books are very wordy. We're impatient, and it's perfectly fine to struggle through some of that stuff.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with it. Although I do have to say, the more rule books that you read, the easier it is. And then, not to go on too much of a tangent, but I'd like to blame today's society for making it so difficult to learn games, because we're so used to like Facebook and Instagram, just scrolling through stuff, not actually sitting down and reading. I know there's a good amount of people that still do read, right? Physical books, Kindle, whatever. Audible, that's not reading, that's listening. But
Yeah, but you know what? Never mind. I'll go off on a tangent.
yeah,
I'll tell you about something offline.
I do like my Audible, but I can tell you that reading a book, an actual book, is way different than an audiobook, because like I said, I love my Audible. I've got a Kindle, and they are not the same. But even like Mark, you and I, we do a lot of stuff online for work, reading product information, whatever it is, updates. And even that is difficult, I think, because we're just so used to scanning stuff. It's so
Oh, yeah.
difficult to sit there and actually read. That is a skill that the last 10 years, maybe a little bit longer, has pushed out of society. And I guess moral of the story is
YouTube
read
Shorts.
books. Read
TikTok.
books. Yes. Read books so you can understand your game rule books better.
Yeah.
Or comprehend them easier, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, and another thing we kind of touched on this is, you don't really need to play every day. couple times a
Rob doesn't.
week. Yeah.
You're too busy.
Yeah.
Busy getting your studio together.
I know. Coming soon this year, sooner rather than later.
Cool.
It is the home stretch. It is the home stretch. So, um, but yeah, so you don't need to play every day. You don't need to play everything. You don't need to get all the unnecessary things that you see influencers have. Um, Other things, while going to cons is cool. It's also cool to play by your friend's house.
Yeah.
It's a lot cheaper,
Yeah.
right? I'm just saying because you're not tempted to buy as much there. But cons are definitely a cool experience, and there's all sorts of different kinds of cons. You don't necessarily need to go to a Grand Con or a Spiel or a PAX, but you can go to the con that's got 30 people at it. That's hosted
Yep.
by a local gaming group, or you do
Yep.
something more regional. They happen all the time.
They do.
You just
All
have
sizes.
Yep.
And they can be a blast. Mine was small. I think they had 100, little over 100 people pre-register. But they had rented out a space, or they were able to use a space in this church for a day and a half. So it was like Friday at 3 p.m. It started and ran till Sunday at 8 p.m. I mean, Saturday at 8 p.m. because we had to clear out and get ready, clear it out for Sunday morning. But and it didn't run all night, not like a Gen Con. I mean, it shut down at 10 p.m. on Friday and you came back at 8 a.m. on Saturday. So, but that's fine for a small local convention. It was a great time, a lot of fun. Definitely check them out, look for them, find local gaming groups to join if you don't have a large gaming group of friends. They are out there. You will find them. Look on Meetup, Facebook, whatever social media to find a local gaming group. Check on with your friendly local gaming stores. They might host them like ours does. But one thing I wanted to say about this, we've kind of talked I feel like we've talked a lot of negative about gaming media. There is positive too.
Oh, absolutely.
And even those that get paid for the hype or whatnot, despite all those things, I'm really grateful that there are a lot of people in this hobby, for whatever reason, are able to get new hot games or whatever, any type of games, and share their thoughts, comments. Like most of the stuff I do is unboxings. I enjoy doing that. I think it's a lot of fun to open up the box and show people what's in the game.
Because it's an experience. It's like treasure hunting and opening up a treasure, and it's like, what's inside?
Yeah, I mean, I love watching like Tom Vassel's unboxing every week, and he calls it the most boring unboxing in the world. But I love watching it, and he actually just opens up the cardboard boxes, what comes in their mail, which is what I do as a mailbag. But he opens up all their boxes in a video and just throws them on the table and says, "Here's what came in," and that's it. He doesn't, he's like, "Oh, I've heard of this. I look forward to playing that," and he goes on to the next one, and then I do that, but then I also do another video of like where I actually unbox that game, open it up, show you the components and things like that. So I'm grateful when somebody like does that, or I can see what comes in a game, because I've done that. I've watched things. I'm like, yep, I want the shoot, it's in my head. I want that deluxe kit. I can't think of the game. I'm told it's right behind me somewhere. I have to find the name of the game because it's going to drive me nuts. Because it's Andromeda's Edge. I had the retail version, so I was looking at and I watched an unboxing and someone showing off what the deluxe component kit includes, and I'm like, yep, I want that. So I'm very grateful for the media and the influencers and stuff like that, because we have that ability to see if it's something that we might be interested in. So there is that outside of all the hype. I am grateful for media. Oh, yeah. So it's good. It's bad. So.
No, absolutely. So to shift into the more positive side of things, one thing that I do appreciate about gaming media is exposure to new things,
Yeah.
where there's a lot of times where we will hear about a game and we'll hear about a game and not have any interest in it. But then when I say hear, I mean just say like, hey, this game is coming out from this designer, released this quarter, etc. We'll hear about that and then not have any interest in the game. But then once we hear a little bit more in depth of take on the game, then it piques our interest. And it's also a great way to find out when releases are coming out because, like, heck, if you didn't like just thinking about tonight's show, if you love Battlestar Galactica, you now know that Unfathomable, right,
Yep.
is basically a form of a reimplementation of Battlestar Galactica.
Yep.
So if you can't get a hold of Battlestar Galactica, maybe now Unfathomable is something that's on your radar.
Yep.
So that is a very nice thing. And then to add to that, I don't know if this is I don't know if this is positive or negative in
Uh-oh.
general, but one thing that I've found over the years is the more I listen to podcasts and watch the YouTube videos, like I'll go through phases where I listen to a lot of stuff, like a lot of shows every week, and then I'll sort of like tone it down a little bit and kind of take a break for not to totally shut down any of that listening, but I might not listen to as many shows per week. But I find that the more shows I listen to, the more I spend on the hobby. That's just a me problem, I think. Where then you
No, it
just
is
get
not just a you problem.
yeah, because then you get excited and it's like, oh, I got to get Unfathomable. I got to get the new Stefan Feld game. Um, I got to get Potato Man, and just giving you an example of stuff. So it's like the more you're into it, the more you tend to want that stuff. And so I was gonna say it's just a me problem, but I think it's a me and Mark problem. But
Yeah, it's an us.
yeah, but that could also be sort of a positive thing because the more you listen to it, the more you want to be a part of the hobby, the more it wants to keep you it keeps the interest up.
Does.
And especially if you've got an active game group where you can go to them on a weekly basis or a bi-weekly basis, whatever it is, that keeps you that game group keeps you in the hobby. If you don't have that normal regular cadence in gaming, this other stuff, tertiary stuff, can also keep you involved in the hobby.
Agreed. Absolutely agreed. So sorry for the noise. I think the Amazon guy is here. My dogs are freaking out. So
Bring in more games, maybe.
no,
Or
actually, it's bringing dog treats. So
they smell them.
they can smell them.
They
So
smell the truck from down the Amazon truck from down the block.
so
But
all right.
yeah, anyway, there's a whole bunch of stuff that we get influenced by influencers. Just I guess the moral of the story is, you know, just be you. Just do whatever you want. It's perfectly okay. You're not competing with anybody that you see online, right? Because we're all in this hobby, going through this journey on our own. And as long as you're having a great time, as long as you're enjoying yourself, having good times with your friends and family, fellow gamers, that's what's most important.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's that's about it. Did you have anything else you wanted to add, or
No, my buddy
No.
here wants attention now. He's like,
Yeah.
Dad, the
It's
Amazon
like,
guy's here with treats.
yeah, it's like
Go
you need
get
to
him.
open that box. You need to do you need to do an unboxing
Yeah,
for your dogs. Be like,
exactly.
"You guys sit there and watch me. I got to record this. You can't have anything until we're done filming the unboxing of the treats."
Yeah. All right,
Anyway,
that's
all right.
well,
So I guess that's a wrap for episode 113.
sounds good.
And yeah, if you have any thoughts on media influence of any kind, yeah, your buddy's really excited over there.
He wants attention
Yeah,
badly.
yeah.
Yes, he
It's like,
does.
yes, he does. He's thinking he's a lap dog, but he's far from a lap dog.
Oh, he is far from a lap dog, but
Yeah,
he'll
yeah,
he'll crawl in. The other one is trying to nudge his way in too. So,
yeah. All right, so
oh,
let's take it out then. So
okay.
thanks for listening, everybody. Episode 113. If you have any thoughts on media influence, just send us an email at contact@thisboardgamelife and let us know what you think. So I'm Rob. Thanks for listening, everybody. We'll catch you all in 2 weeks.
And I'm Mark. We'll see you at the table.